I've been trying for years to break in, and all of these AAA studios start causing mass casualties. And I'm like, nah, it's possible without the behemoths. And it is, if you plan and do it right. So, with that in mind, and a lot of the companies out there right now that are looking to start something, where should they start? What are some of those like hard lessons learned that you went through that say, okay, plan for this initially?
Yeah. So I would say for me right now, if I was to start from scratch right now, bearing in mind I did start from scratch only just like a year ago. And even with that, like if I started again tomorrow, I would still start slightly differently. We're doing really well at staying small right now. The first mistake I made with my first studio was that I went from a 2-man team to a 20-man team in the space of 2 months. I had like at one point I interviewed 20 people over 2 days back to back. I don't recommend it, but that did give me here's the thing, like from all of that, like I did take away from that. I got like really good at interviewing people. I have such a strong like gut sense when I'm interviewing people now, and they're just it comes to my mind like a question that I can ask that will get them to tell me something about themselves that allows me to know who they are. Like, so that's like a whole thing. But staying small, as small as you can, and the other thing that I would say is test out make as many prototypes as you can. I mean, this is kind of out there already. Like some people do know this, but there's also conflicting information out there on like, oh, come up with your, spend 3 months in pre-production, make that thing, or make 10 like scrappy things, try it out with friends and family, see if any of them come up with like a really cool, quirky thing, and then this is something that I don't know if is out there, that is whether or not it's out there as much. Instead of going like, oh, this would be cool with this and this, during that early build stage process, always be thinking, could we go to market tomorrow? Like, is this enough of a game that we could actually launch tomorrow? We might need to polish it up or whatever, but if we like, can we launch this as a demo that people might pay for? Like, start doing all of that early testing, putting stuff out there, and just trying to prove that what you're doing makes sense. It's like this whole like, don't keep everything a secret to yourself. And I think the one thing that stops people from doing that is that they're worried someone else is going to steal their idea. And the reality is that even if someone sees like out here the idea that you're putting out, they don't know all of the decisions that you like had to come to decide to make that. They don't know how you're making it in the back end. They don't know what your plan is with it going forward. So no matter what you're showing up here, there's a whole like 80% of this iceberg that people aren't seeing. So just start throwing stuff out there, testing it, and try and find simpler ways to test your ideas. There's a lot of people who do really well on things like Pitch Your Game on Twitter, where they like pitch a game idea and it like loads of people see it, loads of people vote on it, and it turns out that actually it was just like some cool imagery and it doesn't exist yet. Like, and then they've just proved that like 2,000 people really loved it, and if the best case scenario is that someone in the judging team picks their tweet and goes, this was a really solid pitch and a really solid idea and we'd love to see more of it. And then you go, you can take that to a publisher, you can take that to an investor and go, look, I've kind of proved already that the market is out there and they want it. So these are the things that I would say are really stuff that you can do early, stuff that is easier to do than to dive into any form of like production that could take you forever.